What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my channel. I am the friendly grumpy trucker. Sometimes I'm friendly, sometimes I'm grumpy. Never know what you're gonna get, I guess. Today I'm gonna go over a little review and some specs and things like that about this 2018 Volvo VNL 780. I'm gonna go over what I like about it and what I don't like about it, and I'm gonna give you some of the likes of the specs, just kind of show you around the truck. And if you're interested in a truck like this, it'll maybe sway you one way or the other as to whether or not you want to pull the trigger on something like this. Now, I will say, this is the last year for the VNL 780. They have replaced it with the VNL 860. It's a new design, but they did make these for, the first few months or so for the 2018 model year. They might still be making them actually right now, but it's not going to be a continued model throughout the year. I believe it's just kind of bleeding over into the 18 model year. This is it's a nice truck. I really do like it. It's very comfortable to drive. I've driven all sorts of models of trucks. I've driven Peterbilt 386s, Peterbilt 379s, Kenworth T660s, Freightliner Cascadias, Freightliner Columbias. I've driven pretty much all of the major trucks out there, and I will say Peterbilt probably by far has the best ride. I don't know how, I don't know why, but they do have the best ride. But Volvo, everything else when it comes to comfort, it far surpasses the competition, in my opinion. There's much more space. It has probably, in my opinion, the best sleeper of all of the trucks out here. Now, it's not the biggest per se. It's a 77-inch condo sleeper in the 780. You can get bigger sleepers as far as length goes, but they might not be as wide, and they don't have as much storage, and they don't have the table in the back, some of them. Now, as far as the storage goes in this truck, you have no shortage of space. It's probably got the most cabinet space of any truck you can buy straight from the showroom floor. You've got this huge cabinet up here, which it has a mirror right here. I don't know why. I would never want to look in that mirror on a daily basis. And then, of course, it's a 2-door wide shelving system here. And you've got 3 shelves right here. And, it's a little messy in mine right now. But it's so much space. I've got this big canister of coffee. I keep some DVDs up there. I keep some silverware up there. Some of my coffee pot I keep up there. And it's just an enormous amount of space. And that's just one side. Close this. And then once you close this side over here, you've got cabinets up here, which is where I keep my blender. I've got my blender up there. And I have an abundance of space in that one cabinet. And then of course you've got your TV mount right here, which I have to find the screws for. I haven't had a chance to set it up yet. It comes with mounting hardware, and I've got all the hardware, but I don't know what I did with the screws. But it's easy to pull out, and it kind of acts as two different. It has two different purposes in a way, because your microwave, at least in the 780, which is the outgoing model, the microwave, it goes right up here behind the TV mount, and it's kind of nice because when it's folded in like this, it acts as a secondary line of defense to keep your microwave from sliding out. If you make some kind of a hard evasive maneuver to the right, you don't only just have the strap in here that holds the microwave in, which the microwave could slide out of, but you've got this to keep it from coming out too. So you pull down on a little lever right here, and then it just folds right out just like that. Then you got the microwave here, and it's really a very convenient, practical setup. I really like it. Now on the 860s, the microwave goes over here. It's on this side. I don't know why they did that. They changed that up. For the most part, everything from the front of the sleeper back in the 860 is the exact same as in the 780. Very few differences. The trim's a little different. Like this is called the Beechwood trim package. Obviously it's faux wood, it's plastic, but it looks good. I like it. But in the 860s, it's more like a dark gray or granite or ash wood color. But anyway, besides all that stuff, you know, oh, and of course, to the interior, in these VNL 780, they use kind of a brown interior, which I like more in my opinion. It's kind of a warmer feel, a warmer look. In the 860, they did away with the brown and they made it all dark gray. You know, just small differences. I like the brown more, some would like the gray more. The microwave on the new 860s is on this side, and then of course, you've still got the TV mount on this side right here. Now, one thing I would like to point out with this TV mount, you know, when you're using your microwave, this is a serious issue when it comes to bumping your head on whatever you can in the truck. When this is out, say you bend over to pick something up off the floor and you forget this is out, you've got these sharp corners here to remind you that it's out. And I can't tell you how many times it's reminded me. It hurts too. You get up full force, full speed, and you bump your head right into the corner of that steel. It wakes you up. Now, as you can see, even for a bigger gentleman like myself, there's plenty of room back here on these in these 780s. There's more room back there than you would think. I remember the first time I looked at one, I thought that I was going to be too fat for one of these table areas, but it's really comfortable, and I really have no complaints. I mean, there's more than enough room to sit back here, which is one of my, really it's my favorite thing about these 780s and the new 860s, is just having this area back here. It's the best table setup of any truck. As far as usability goes, I think the new Cascadia actually has a better setup as far as setup and takedown goes. It's a little more convenient, but this one is just, it's more usable in my opinion. There's more space, it's a more comfortable booth, you know, more comfortable seat to sit in, and that just all around I just like it a lot more. Well, you can get an 86-inch studio sleeper in the Kenworth W9 series, and it's got a couch in the back, which is nice. It's a studio sleeper. It's got the couch in the, it's nice. It's spacious, but it doesn't have the convenience of the table, and I really like that table back there. One thing I really do like about these Volvos, and I believe it's the only truck that does this, I might be wrong, but it has an internal hood release. You know, most trucks have external latches that can easily be unlatched, and then the engine can be tampered with. You know, I've had stuff stolen off of the truck before, you know, in bad areas. I had somebody in Gary, Indiana, steal the cover off of my my APU once. So I wouldn't, you know, while I was asleep in the bunk. So I would not put it past anybody, you know, to tamper with something under the hood if it's as easy to open as most trucks are. Now this truck, like I said, it's got an internal hood release, so it can't be tampered with. If the doors are locked, you know, you can technically, if you know what you're looking for, you can open the hood without getting into the truck, but it's not easy, and it's not, well, it's a little harder, and it looks a little suspicious, the way you have to kind of reach up there and grab it. It can be done, but like I said, if they don't know this, if they don't know these trucks, they're not going to know that that's accessible that way. The engine in this truck is none other than a Volvo engine. You can get Cummins in these trucks, but with the Cummins, I don't think you can get the I-shift. I believe it's only a, I believe the I-shift, because it's a Volvo transmission, is only available with the Volvo engine. Now, the majority of these trucks will have the Volvo engine. This is the D13, and you can get them in two different specs. You can get them in a 500 horsepower spec, which I believe has 1850 torque, I think. And then you can get the 455 horsepower spec, which is what this one is, with 1700 torque. Now, it's not that bad. You know, it might not seem like a high number, but this particular Volvo is outfitted with the option to switch between economy mode and power mode, I believe it is. I believe that's what the P stands for, is power mode, on the I-shift transmission gear lever module. And what that does is, you know, of course, economy, that means it changes the shift points, is basically what it does. So when you're in really hilly terrain, you can put it in the power mode, and it'll, shift at a higher RPM, so you have better momentum to go up the hills. And then when you're on flat ground, you put it in economy, and it'll shift at a lower RPM, thereby saving your fuel. Now, these trucks can really range from any fuel mileage. This one right here, I get about 6.5 miles per gallon with, and that's because I average hauling pretty heavy loads. I average like 42,000 pounds, and I run through Pennsylvania, which is very hilly. So it's going to get probably some of the worst gas mileage on my route. Now, I've heard of guys getting as high as 8 to 9 with these trucks. So that's not unheard of, but those are mostly going to be more, Nebraska and, the more flat terrains. But it is doable. It's more than doable with these trucks. Now, this truck also has something that's called IC technology. And basically what that is, and I'm going to butcher the description, I know I am, but basically what that is it uses your satellite pinpoint location, and it will learn the hills. It'll learn the terrain that you most often traverse. So, for me, the hills and things like that, it's going to learn those hills. And the really cool thing about that is when you set the cruise control and you put the engine brake on the automatic setting, it'll eventually learn that terrain after a couple runs. And when you get to the bottom of a hill, as you start to climb, it will automatically, before it even knows you're going up the hill, because it'll know the hill's there simply before you even get to it, it'll kick down a gear so that it doesn't kick down a gear halfway up the hill after you've already lost 10 miles an hour or more, which is pretty nice. And then once you crest the top of that hill, it will kick the truck into neutral, so that way it will coast down the hill and saving as much fuel as possible in neutral. Now, one thing I don't like about that IC technology is it will do that sometimes long before you get to the hill to go down. So you'll have the cruise set at 70, and you'll still be a good, eighth of a mile away from the hill, and it'll kick into neutral. And then by the time you get to the hill, you've lost 8 miles per hour, Now, of course, you'll pick that back up when you get to the bottom, or when you get to the hill to go down. But it's really inconvenient if you have just passed another truck, and then all of a sudden it kicks into that mode and it knocks it into neutral. Then that truck behind you, he might get pissed off. He might come out to pass you because you just passed him and now you're slowing down. So when it does that to me, I usually put it back into regular mode. But when you don't have much traffic around you, it's nice. It's convenient. It really does conserve the fuel. Now, this truck also has an enormous amount of cabinetry, probably more than any truck that you can buy from the showroom. Now, of course, like I've said, there's custom sleepers you can buy that are 144-inch sleepers. They're basically a motorhome that has a fifth wheel attached to it for a 53-foot trailer, which anybody in the trucking industry would know what I'm talking about. But they're very packed, they have full kitchens and bathrooms and showers and everything. But that's not practical. That's not something you get from the showroom floor when you go buy a brand new Volvo. So as far as off the showroom floor goes, this is probably by far the most amount of cabinetry you're going to find. And, it's funny because there are some guys, they'll have a truck like this and then they'll go to a different truck and they don't have anywhere to put all of their belongings. They run out of cabinet space long before they pack everything into their new truck. So it's something to keep in mind if you're going to a different truck from this truck. But if you're going from another truck to this truck, you're going to realize very quickly that you have more space than you know what to do with. So that's probably a good problem. Now, really, for the most part, I really do like this truck. It's very comfortable. It's very isolated from the sound when you're inside here and you're driving down the road at 70 miles per hour. There's not that much wind noise in terms of driving an 18-wheeler. In fact, I've got a guy over here trying to flip a cone over. Like I said, as far as actual ride quality goes, a Peterbilt, I'll be honest, I don't think a Peterbilt can be beat. But when you average everything else out, the space, the cabinetries, just sheer comfort that you get when you're in one of these Volvos, it can't be beat in my opinion. There are much cooler trucks out there. Yes, definitely. W9s, Peterbilt 389s, trucks like that are definitely much higher on the cool factor. But the Volvo is sort of like that luxury minivan. It's not necessarily cool, but it's the kind of truck that you'd be proud to own, but you wouldn't want to admit it to anybody. The dash on these 780s is pretty plain. There's a lot of just blank switches everywhere. And some of these switches aren't even something that you can get from the factory with something attached to them. They're just blank switches in case you want to add stuff to them, aftermarket, extra lights, whatever. There's a couple extra auxiliary switches that you can put lights on. And one of the best things about this truck, I'll say, is the coffee cups fit in here very well. Very well. Good job, Volvo. Most important thing to any truck driver is his coffee. And I will say one of the other best things about this truck, which is, again, in the sleeper, is the refrigerator. It is, bar none, hands down, the biggest refrigerator at 3.2 cubic feet. I believe 3.1 or 3.2 cubic feet of space in the refrigerator. That's far larger than any other refrigerator you're going to find in any truck in any dealership. There's so much space, and it's nice for me because I don't like to eat out. I like to do all my meal prepping at home and then put everything in the refrigerator in the truck. And there's no way I would have the space in any other truck for all the food that I bring to keep myself from eating the unhealthy stuff while I'm on the road. It's just extremely nice. I think Volvo did a fantastic job with the 780 slash 860 with the refrigerator. They got that just right. It's a great size for a truck. It really is. They're mowing, so I got to roll up my windows so I can be heard. This truck, which pretty much any truck nowadays, it comes with Bluetooth, hands-free, just like your car at home and whatever. It's got the controls right here on the steering wheel, the answer and hang up from your phone call, and it will display on the screen who is calling you. So if my wife is calling, it will say on the screen, phone call wife. It's kind of a nice touch. I will say, though, too, that as far as the downside goes with the design on this dash, they have made this specific style of Volvo, I believe, since 2003, 2004. And really, for the most part, as far as the design itself goes inside, it's remained completely unchanged until this new 860 came out in 2018. And when I say unchanged, I mean unchanged. All the way down to the pixels that they use on this LCD screen on the dash. Now, back in 2003, 2004, that LCD screen was top-notch. It was high-tech. It was cutting-edge. But now it's horribly, horribly outdated. And I'm glad that they replaced that with the new 860. The new 860, it has a color screen. And I don't know if it'd really be quite, if it's not, it's not really high def, but it's definitely a color screen, and it looks so much more with the times. And, being a car guy like myself, I of course love classic cars. I love the old muscle cars. I love my old Jeep. But I also really appreciate the technological advancements that have commandeered the automotive market, such as, just all the really nice LCD screens and things like that. And I'm super glad that they are reaching over into the semi-truck aspect of the automotive niche, because you're in this thing all week. You live in this truck. So it's really nice to have modern technology and modern, like a modern touch to appeal to the eye. It's just it's very appreciated when they do that. So it is definitely outdated on this particular 780. But like I said, they fixed that with the new 860s and, of course, the 760, which is the smaller version of the new Volvo. Also in the sleeper, you have windows on the top and the bottom bunk. And the windows on the bottom bunk will actually open up far enough. They have screens, and they open far enough that with both windows open, if there's a decent breeze outside, you can get a pretty nice breeze going through the truck. A lot of the trucks that have the windows, they don't open far enough, in my opinion, to create enough of a gap to get good wind flow, good airflow through. But this one does. When you can sleep in the truck with the engine off, you're obviously going to save money by doing that. So being able to have a good airflow through the cabin while you sleep is definitely beneficial. Another thing I like about the interior on this truck is the design of the cloth seats. Now, you can get these with leather seats, but I like the cloth for these long drives. And I like the design on these cloth seats. And the design follows all the way back into the sleeper on the benches and the back wall. To me, it looks really good. It looks fairly upper scale with kind of that diamond design in the fabric. It looks, it just has a much better appeal to it. And that is a kind of a package, I guess. It's an option on these trucks. You can get them with, a different style of fabric, and it doesn't look as nice. But this one does have a nicer, upgraded fabric for the seats and everything, and I really do like that a lot. Now, anyways, with that said, guys, that is my impression of this 2018 Volvo VNL 780. I do really hope that, that it helps anybody make any kind of decision, whether they want to buy one of these or maybe step up and buy one of the newer Volvos. I will say the Volvo definitely depreciates very fast. So if you don't want to spend the money on a brand new one, wait a couple of years and you can find one with 300,000 miles, for around probably $75,000, which is half of what they cost new. So it's, it might be beneficial to do that, and it'll still have a warranty, even if you buy it used, that type of used. It's not so old that it won't have the warranty anymore. So it would still have the warranty, and you're getting it for half the price, which is beneficial all the way around, because after all, we buy these trucks to make money, not to spend money. So it would definitely, it might behoove you to buy one that's used. That's just my opinion. But with that said, anyways, guys, I do like the truck. I hope that, like I said, I hope you like the truck. I hope that, I hope that it's helped, like I said, sway your mind, your opinion one way or the other. I am going to go ahead and sign off of here, guys. I'll see you guys all next time.